Welcome everyone, namaste. Welcome to this full moon flow and restore yoga practice. First half is vinyasa flow and the second half is yin and restorative. So you want to have some additional props such as 2 blocks, a strap, a bolster, and a blanket. My name is Michelle Chua. Let's find a comfortable way to sit. We're gonna physically be opening the hips quite a bit, which looks like turning out the thighs. So you might find a position to sit that includes that in a gentle way, something that does feel comfortable for you. So it might be helpful to sit up on your blanket or your pillow. Elevating the pelvis can allow the knees to drop open more easily. And take a moment to just arrive mentally and physically in your yoga practice. You might visually orient yourself in your own space by looking around you and just taking in from your surroundings anything that appeals to your eyes. A way of bringing calmness to the nervous system. As you're settling into stillness in the body, allow your 2 sitting bones to root down more firmly so that your spine can rise more spaciously, letting your whole body relax. So often the theme of full moons, for those of us that have full moon rituals or just like to take a moment of mindful pause, is like changes in the seasons, the lunar cycles. The full moon can be a opportune time to reflect on anything you want to celebrate in your life, anything that has reached completion or that you want to bring closure to, as well as anything that you may want to bring intention of releasing, letting go. And that can be things that sort of stand in the way of your intentions long term in your life. For example, old habits that don't support well-being. They could be physical actions, they could be verbal habits, things you tend to say out loud or to yourself, limiting beliefs, or anything. So you might take a moment to just contemplate. Is there anything that you're celebrating today or bringing closure to in any aspect of your life? Is there anything that you would like to set an intention here now to begin releasing, to shed something that no longer supports well-being? I often listen to different astrologers just to get an overall theme. And in this full moon today, on November 27, 2023, one of the themes is to consider how you are living in balance with being in the present moment and having a bigger picture or long-term perspective. And that's one of the specific ways you can apply that is how you react versus respond to any situation, conversation. For example, when you're feeling emotionally triggered and an uncomfortable emotion starts to arise, maybe during a conversation, somebody says something, and before responding or reacting, how do we take a moment to have a mindful pause? One of the things that I appreciate very much from Marshall Rosenberg, author of Nonviolent Communication, he gives 4 important steps for communicating nonviolently or with ahimsa, right? Life enriching. First is to notice what you're observing from a neutral standpoint. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? Without placing value judgments or evaluations on it. And then the second is, what are you feeling? What emotions and sensations are you presently experiencing? And really giving yourself a long enough pause to process that. And as you're processing it, also filtering out the thoughts, the narratives, just being in the sensations and emotions themselves. And then the third step is asking yourself, what is this emotion or these emotions and sensations informing me that I need right now? What do I need right now? For example, if insecurity is arising when somebody says something, maybe I need to feel safe in my body. Maybe I need to feel trust in myself before I even extend outside of myself and say a word to somebody else. And then the fourth step is making a request either to the other person or to yourself, or taking an action if needed, that is life enriching. And that is a whole point of the first virtue of the first limb of yoga, which is ahimsa, right? Nonviolence, life affirming. So with that in mind, I invite you to bring into your practice today the practice of mindfully pausing, sensing what is coming up physically and emotionally as we're moving through the asana practice of yoga and as we're sitting in meditation in the end. And really allowing yourself a compassionate several moments to digest what is coming up without even having to fix it or place value judgments on it. Just observe a few deep breaths. And so with that, let's begin to deepen the breath. As you inhale a little deeper, feel the support beneath your body and root into that support. As you exhale slowly, you might even sigh it out through the mouth. Allow your spine to rise a little taller, but not rigidly. On your own, continue to allow deeper breaths. I invite you to acknowledge anything in this moment that you can offer gratitude for. And through the lens of gratitude, clarify an intention on this full moon, an intention for your yoga practice. And you might also call to mind someone you'd like to dedicate this practice to, a way of extending loving kindness to someone else. Together, let's join our voices chanting Om 3 times. Inhale a little deeper. Om. Om. I'm beginning to use skillful breathing pranayama to invite balance of energy, focus, and calmness of mind and body. Let's begin practicing Ujjayi pranayama, victorious breath, where you close the lips, gently narrow the back of your throat, and create a very gentle, smooth whispering sound as you inhale and exhale evenly and slowly through the nose. Listen to a few cycles of that as you're sitting here now, and establish the pace really mindfully and slow with which we'll move our bodies in vinyasa flow. And sitting here now, listening to the breath, letting this begin a mindful pause before we start to move the body. What are you sensing right now, physically, emotionally? What are you working with? As you continue to listen to your breath, please gently make your way onto your hands and your knees, all fours. where you might set up 2 blocks to frame the front of your mat like this. As you spread your fingers flat at the front of your mat, stack your shoulders on top of your wrists. Step your knees a couple of inches behind your hips. Let's begin in cat-cow pose, Betalasana. As you breathe in, glide your chest forward, coiling it up into cow pose. As you breathe out, contract your abdomen, dropping your head to round into cat pose. Again, inhale, rolling the shoulders back, reach your heart forward and up. Exhale, lifting your navel in towards the spine, drop your head, tuck the tailbone down. Keep going, maybe another 3 or so cycles of breath, really slow, synchronizing to the sound of your breath. Now, sinking your hips towards your heels, let's begin to move laterally in circles. So beginning in child's pose, if it's comfortable, you might bring the feet together to touch. Extend the arms forward. Inhale, swivel your hips to your left and circle forward. Exhale, swivel your hips to your right and circle back. Keep going a few more times. Notice the sensations, especially around your pelvis. And then when you finish the cycle, let's go in the opposite direction. Inhaling your hips to the right, shifting forward. Exhale to the left, shifting back. Several more times. On your next in-breath, come back to your hands and knees, tuck your toes, lift your hips, entering Adho Mukha Svanasana, or downward facing dog. Feel free to dance your dog, meaning shifting your body in any way it needs to move right now for a few cycles of breath. I often enjoy swiveling the hips left and right while pedaling the feet slowly to the breath. And even shaking and nodding the head to relax the neck. Let your hands feel really grounded as you spread your fingers flat. Open up space around your neck and shoulders by letting the head just hang freely as you roll the triceps downward, lift the shoulders and hips back. And then find a pause for 3 deep breaths, steadying your gaze, your drishti. On your next in-breath, sweep your right leg behind you. Now as you exhale, bend your right knee and turn the thigh open at the hip. As you breathe in, draw your left hip further back. And then exhale, round forward and step the foot gently beside your right thumb. Lower your left knee into a kneeling lunge. Have your front knee right on top of the heel, but not in front of it. Legs hips width apart. Keep your left toes tucked and then grab your blocks, placing your fingertips on the blocks at the height that you need so that your hands can be just under your shoulders. Shoulders relax as you're gazing up. Let's prepare for a little flow here. As you breathe in, allow your pelvis to sink. Keep your feet where they are, and as you breathe out, entering pyramid pose, draw your right outer hip back towards straightening your legs, bowing as if you have a flat back. Let's go back and forth. Inhale, kneeling lunge, gaze up. Exhale, wide pyramid pose, bowing in. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Couple more cycles of breath. Tune into your breath. Finishing the last cycle here with pyramid pose. Lower your back knee. And keeping your legs still, imagine the feeling of dragging them towards each other. Start to raise the arms in Anjaneyasana. Lifting your frontal hip bones, direct your tailbone down and slightly towards your inner right heel. And then lift your back ribs, actively lengthen your lower back. Draw your shoulder heads back and pressing the shoulder blades down right beneath them, tilt your heart up. Any variations of the arms, you can keep the arms apart, you can bring the hands together, you could interlace the fingers behind your back. 3 more deep breaths here. So lifting your heart space open without compressing or overarching the lower back. Drawing the right hip back. One more deep breath. Inhale the arms up again. And then exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Let's take a version of vinyasa here. Inhale, come forward into plank pose, whether legs straight or knees on the ground. Ashtangasana, as you exhale, lower your knees, then your chest. Then lower your chin. Inhale, cobra, slither forward, ground the tops of the feet, and coil your chest up. Exhale, downward facing dog. Full cycle of breath. Inhale, sweep your left leg behind you. As you exhale, bend your left knee, rotate the thigh externally at the hip. Stay here as you inhale, draw your right outer hip back. Then exhale, round forward, step the foot lightly beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee, keep the back toes tucked. So make sure your left knee is directly on top of your ankle. Grab your blocks, place them at the height you need so that your fingertips are right under your shoulders. Shoulders relax, breathe in, gaze up, kneeling lunge. Keep your feet where they are and exhale to a wide pyramid pose, lifting the right knee, draw your left outer hip back towards whatever degree you can straighten the leg and bow as if you have a flat back. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Inhale, kneeling lunge. Exhale, pyramid. Keep going for 2 more cycles of your breath. Finishing this last cycle, lower your back knee, bring the energy into your legs as if you're dragging them towards each other to find stability as you raise the arms in Anjaneyasana. Squaring your hips to face forward, slightly lift your frontal hip bones and direct your tailbone down and slightly forward. Then draw your shoulder heads back, pressing them down right beneath your shoulder blades. Tilt your heart towards the sky, towards the full moon. With deep breaths, let your collarbones smile a little wider, floating your heart space towards the moon. You might bring the hands together, keep them apart, or interlace the fingers with the opposite thumb behind you. One more full breath. Inhale the arms up. Lower your hands. Exhale, downward facing dog. Once again, inhale, come forward, your version of plank pose. Exhale, lower knees, chest, then chin. Inhale, slither forward to cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause for 2 slow breaths. Sense the quality of your breathing. When you've emptied the next breath, walk or float to the front of your mat into Uttanasana, forward fold. Feet hips width apart, parallel. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Press your hands on the floor or blocks and lengthen your spine forward. Exhale again, Uttanasana. Root down to your soles. Inhale, sweep your arms forward to rise up into a gentle standing back bend in Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, use your right hand to hold your left wrist, spine vertical, shoulders relax. Inhale, lengthen through the top of your head. And then exhale, press the left foot more firmly into the earth as you begin side bending to your right. Inhale, lift the lower spine from the pelvis. Exhale, continue side bending. A few more breaths. Draw your navel in towards your spine. Inhale, rise back through center. Hold your right wrist with your left hand. Relax your shoulders, stand a little taller. Exhale, side bend to your left. Inhale, press your right foot deeper into the ground. Lift the lower spine from your hips. Exhale, continue to side bend. Several more breaths. Draw your navel in. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, join your hands and fold forward. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips outside your heels. Exhale, step your left foot all the way back, aligning your right heel to the arch of your left foot. Place the right fingertips on a block or the floor just on the right side of your right shin, and raise your left arm straight up in triangle pose, so both legs are straight. Draw your right hip crease towards your left outer heel as you actively lengthen your torso forward towards your front wall. Sliding the shoulder blades down your back, spin your chest slightly to face the sky, steadying your drishti, your gaze, on one focal point for another 4 deep breaths in Trikonasana. Gaze on the ground just in front of your right toes for Ardha Chandrasana. Walk your right hand upper right corner from your right pinky toe about 6 inches ahead. Bring the block if you were using it, and then drag your left foot forward, flex it off the ground as you recreate the shape of triangle pose. Tilt it onto one leg. Half moon pose. Some of you know variations like Ardha Chandra Chapasana. Up to you. We're here for about 4 more breaths. Look down just in front of your right toes. Standing splits. Turn the left outer hip to face the front of your mat and the ground. Square the hips. Tack the right hip back and lower both hands on blocks or the floor, about a foot ahead of your front foot. Inhale, lift your chest. Square the hips. Spin the inseam of the left leg towards the sky. And then exhale, bow towards your right shin. Just a couple more deep breaths here. Relax your neck. Optional to hold your right ankle or calf. Set the left foot to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Gentle back bend at the top, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart, Padasana. Slow breath here. Just checking in for a moment. Once again, inhale, sweep your arms forward, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hinge from your hips, Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips, step the right foot as far back as you can, and spin the heel down for triangle. Place your left hand on the left side of your left shin on a block of the floor, aligning left heel to the arch of your right foot. Tack your left hip crease back towards your outer right heel. With both legs straight, raise your right arm and stack your shoulders and wrists. Drawing your shoulder blades down your back, lengthen the top of your head towards your front wall while spinning your chest slightly to face the sky. As you steady your gaze, tune into about 4 more breaths here in triangle pose. Now gaze down at the ground just ahead of your left foot. Half moon pose. Walk your left hand, maybe take a block with you, upper left corner of your left foot about 6 inches ahead. Drag in your right foot, flex it off the floor, and recreate your triangle shape, or the version you practiced on your first side. Look down again in front of your left foot and sweep the right arm overhead, landing both hands on blocks or the floor as you bow towards your left shin in standing splits. Remember to square your hips here. Draw your left outer hip back. Rotate your right outer hip towards the ground. Keep flexing your right foot and inhale, lift your chest forward. Bowing in towards the left shin. Let your spine relax, especially your neck. One more deep breath. And this time, softly step your right foot again to the rear of your mat and rise up to stand in a wide stance. So we're facing the wide width of the mat. Let's turn out both thighs from the hips, coming into often called full moon pose or goddess pose. So coming into wide-legged squat, bending your knees. Make sure that your knees and the middle toes beneath them are turned out the same degree. You're turning out from the hip sockets. Tailbone is lengthening down, frontal hip bone slightly lifted, so spine is upright, shoulders relaxed. We're going to move into a heart-centered flow. Put some meaning into the gestures related to our full moon practice. So begin with the knees bent, connect to your breath. So remember when I asked if there's anything that you are intending to release on this full moon, bring that to mind as you inhale, raise your arms, gathering the resources around you. And then as you exhale, pressing the palms slowly towards the earth, rebend the knees. And this is an action of letting go of whatever it is that you are intending to. Bringing it down to Mother Earth to transmute. As you inhale to stand up again, bring your palms like an invitation to your heart. So as you release that, what are you creating space for? What are you nurturing? And then as you bend the knees again, slowly open the arms apart. And thus, what are you sending out into the world to your new presence? Again, inhale, standing tall, gathering the resources and support around you. Exhaling, bending the knees, slowly releasing down towards Mother Earth. Inhale, inviting to the heart. What are you thus cultivating as you create more space? Exhale, sending into the world through your presence. One last time, inhale, gathering resources and support. Exhale, letting go, releasing. Inhale, creating space in the heart. And exhale, sending out into the world. And with that, heel toe your feet close enough together to be in mountain pose, resting a hand at your heart center, a hand at your navel center below the belly button. if that makes sense to you. And maybe closing the eyes for 3 deep breaths. Just noticing what you're feeling right now, especially emotionally and through physical sensations. Noticing without evaluating or placing a narrative around it. As you continue to attune to your breath, please find a strap and come on down to your back, entering the yin and restorative part of our practice. Now, as you're on your back, you may want to have within arm's reach a bolster and your blanket or your blocks, anything that will serve as a potential prop for your leg. And then now, bend your right knee into your chest. Take your strap and step the ball of your right foot into the strap, whether it's the loop or just the center of the strap. Kick into the strap with your right foot flexed so the toes are curling towards the shin while straightening your right leg towards the sky. Now holding your strap with just your right hand, both ends of the strap with your right hand, with your left leg straight on the floor. Keep your feet parallel to each other so you're not turning out the left leg. Press your left hand on the very top of your left thigh. Feel the back of your left hip grounded. Now try to keep that hip grounded, and from your right hip socket, begin to turn out or externally rotate your right leg. And then little by little, with the breath, opening your right leg out to its side, just to the degree that the back of your left hip stays grounded. And as you continue for a couple minutes here in supine hand to big toe pose, draw your right outer hip forward towards your inner left heel so that we're not shortening the right side of the torso here for the sake of raising the right leg. As we stay for another 1.5 minutes, you might continue with ujjayi breaths, observing any sensations shifting or lingering. We're down to about 2 more slow breaths. Slowly lift your right leg up towards the sky again. And then take hold of the strap with your left hand only. So the right foot is still in the strap, just switching hands. Open your right arm out to the floor to your right side. Ground your right shoulder and scoot your pelvis another 3 or so inches towards the right edge of your mat. Sickle your right foot from the ankle, turn the sole of the foot to face your left wall. This will give the IT band a bit of a stretch as we're twisting. Breath by breath, begin to cross your right leg over your body to your left side. So dropping the leg to the left slowly, only as far as you can keep your right shoulder grounded. Now, this is where you might find a pillow or prop useful. You could place it underneath your inner right leg to catch it if you need. And as you stay in the twist for several breaths longer, direct your right outer hip to tilt slightly forward towards the front edge of your mat, giving your lower spine some traction and release. And can you still hear your breathing? Last couple of deep breaths. And then lifting your right leg up again, gently roll onto your back. Bring your pelvis towards the midline of your mat. And still with the right foot in the strap, flexing the foot, hold the strap now with two hands. Keep your hips squared, both evenly facing the sky. As you bend your elbows apart, gradually bring your right leg towards you. Now, if your hamstring feels resistant, you could bend your left knee slightly or to the degree that you need. Continue to parallel your feet so you're not turning out the left thigh. Left knee is pointing straight up towards the sky. Let's tune into a couple more slow breaths. And release the strap. Bend your right knee into your chest. And circle your right foot at the ankle a few times in both directions. Release your right leg straight to the floor. And bend both knees into your chest for a moment. Maybe rocking side to side, forward and back, circling the legs. Now let's straighten the right leg on the ground and bend the left knee into your chest. Step the ball of your left foot into the strap. As you flex your left foot, kick into the strap at the same time. Straighten your left leg to whatever degree you comfortably can towards the sky, holding the strap in your left hand. Square your hips to face the sky as you parallel your feet. Use your right hand to press down on the top of your right thigh, making sure the back of your right hip stays on the ground. Turn open your left thigh at the hip or externally rotate the leg. Then slowly, as breath by breath, begin to splay your left leg away from your midline or abduct your leg, just to the degree that the back of the right hip can stay grounded. And at the same time, let's consciously lengthen the left side of the torso. So draw your left outer hip forward towards your inner right heel. Again, we'll be here for about 2 minutes in total, like we did on the first side. Notice what sensations you're experiencing as you're focusing on the left side of your hips. And possibly what emotions might be arising or shifting. It's often said that the hips are a storehouse of unprocessed emotions. The various parts of our body can also be a storehouse. And unprocessed emotions, whether intentionally unprocessed or unconsciously unprocessed, are one of the practices that we can do on a full moon is sense what's needing processing emotionally. Just as the moon is more fully illuminated by the sun, the dark side of the moon. And so we might experience certain emotions that have been swept under the rug more strongly, often called our shadow side. And with whatever might be coming up, how can we be with ourselves with compassion and ahimsa? One more deep breath here. And then slowly lift your left leg up again. Keep the left foot in the strap as you switch hands now with the right hand holding the strap. Open your left arm out to the left on the ground. Slide your pelvis maybe another 3 inches or so towards the left edge of your mat. Sickle your left foot from the ankle, turn the sole of your left foot to face your right wall. And breath by breath, begin to cross your left leg over to your right side. Taking it gradually, while at the same time directing your left outer hip to tilt gently towards the front edge of your mat, bringing traction and release to your lower back. What sensations might you be experiencing around your sacrum here in this spinal twist? Remember that you can use your pillows and blankets as needed to help hold your leg, making sure your left shoulder stays on the ground. Let's do another 2 deep breaths here. Gently rolling onto your back, lift your left leg upright again. Bring your pelvis towards the midline of your mat. Square your hips to face the sky and hold the strap with 2 hands. Still flexing your left foot and kicking it into the strap. Keep your shoulders on the ground and bend your elbows apart, slowly bringing your left leg towards you. Making sure you're not turning out the right leg, spin the inseam of your right leg towards the ground as you point right knee towards the sky. One more deep breath here. Big releasing exhale. Bend your left knee into your chest. Set the strap aside. Let's circle the left foot at the ankle a few times in both directions. Draw your right knee towards your chest and let's come into happy baby pose. Or straddle your legs straight apart, maybe clasp your big toes. Either way, support your lower back by grounding your tailbone, head, and shoulders. Let's take some releasing, cooling lion's breaths here, Simasana Pranayama, 3 times. So gather in a deep breath through your nose, fill up your whole body with it. As you open your mouth and eyes wide, stick out your tongue and let go with any releasing sound. On your own, twice more. And then bring your knees together, rock forward or off to one side, and gently rise up to sit so we can set up for a restorative posture. One last one, which will bring us into Shavasana. So you could stay in it for Shavasana if you choose. Invite you into Supta Baddha Konasana with supported fish pose using a bolster, possibly a blanket for grounding. You might want to keep it generally folded so it's heavy. And if you're needing support for your outer thighs or knees, you might use 2 blocks. So begin by placing your bolster either tracing the length of the midline of your mat like this. Pelvis is almost touching it, so you'll be lying back. The purpose is to open up the chest. It's a supported heart opening pose. Or you can place the bolster crossing the mat horizontally so that your shoulder heads roll off of the bolster like this, and it kind of feels like you're hanging off the edge of a bed. Do what feels more comfortable to you. Depending on the size of your bolster and the length of your torso, one might feel more comfortable so it's not impinging on your lower back. Now, as you're dropping the knees apart and bringing the soles of your feet together, if your knees are lifting away from the ground uncomfortably, you might use your blocks underneath your outer knees or your outer thighs like this. The blanket is for the purpose of grounding, using the weight of the blanket, so keeping it pretty folded, placing it on your pelvis, lower belly, and inner thighs. And then lying back, make sure your arms are in a position that allows your shoulder heads to release away from your ears, away from your neck, so it doesn't feel like you're shrugging and tensing the shoulders. You might find it helpful to externally rotate the upper arms and let the palms face up. Make any adjustments so that your body feels generally symmetrical. You might mentally scan your whole body before you allow stillness. I'm going to invite you into a few last breaths, controlled breaths together to promote deep relaxation before we let go of controlling our breaths. This is a simple pranayama where we breathe in for 5 counts through the nose and breathe out for 7 counts. You can choose exhaling through the lips or exhaling through the nose, whatever feels more relaxing for you. Let's try 3 cycles together and 2 cycles on your own. Prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cycle 2. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Inhale 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A couple more on your own. Each exhalation, allow the bones in your body to submit to gravity, sinking deeper towards Mother Earth. When you finish, consciously release control of your breathing and sense the natural flow, being present with it. Sense the way your body feels in this position right now. Is it asking you to stay or to shift into a more comfortable position for Shavasana? If the latter, please be very gentle and slow as you transition into corpse pose. We'll be in Shavasana for about another 4 minutes before sitting in meditation. letting your body rest right here, just as it is, with your eyes still closed. Notice how your physical body feels. And let your body inform you how it wants to begin moving gently out of stillness into an easy stretch, little by little, responding with care and presence. Eventually rolling over onto your right side and resting there for a few moments. Noticing your breathing. And through the breath, sensing your energy. And take your time pressing into the earth and rising slowly. Find a comfortable way to sit for our 5 minutes sitting in meditation. If you were sitting cross-legged at the beginning of your practice, you might place the opposite shin, maybe your non-default one, forward or on top. And maybe rest the hands in a neutral mudra, like stacking the palms face up on the center of your lap with your thumb tips gently touching. Inviting spaciousness throughout your spine, especially around the heart. You might close your eyes, resting on the feeling of your natural breath, which attunes you to the present moment. Meditation is an opportunity to allow whatever emotions, beliefs, perceptions that we might be storing unprocessed to rise to the surface. Simply being attentive to what arises as you practice being aware of the breath. Notice how you're feeling now mentally and emotionally. Maybe even gently touch a hand to your heart center in a gesture of acknowledgement. What can you find appreciation for right now? Allow a moment for gratitude. And once again, I invite you to say mentally or out loud your intention on this full moon. Maybe something you want to continue even after this yoga practice. And then allow a moment to visualize that someone to whom you dedicated this practice, sensing them receiving your loving kindness. And to close, let's join our voices one more time, chanting Om 3 times. Sense the resonance that you are both giving and receiving. Inhale a little deeper. Bowing in, acknowledge the light within. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.